The following program is a Vision of St. Louis special.
For the O.J. Simpson murder.
At times, your television might seem like a funhouse mirror, a mirror which distorts reality, stretching the importance of some things that hardly matter,
Guilty.
while minimizing the issues that matter most to you. Depending on your vantage point, television in general might miss the big picture entirely.
Stern was adjourned.
But what if you could set the agenda? What if you determined the relative weight of the issues and the airtime allotted to each of them? Where would you focus the eyes of St. Louis? What would you say to the ears of a community?
Tonight, some of our viewers will set the agenda. They'll be talking about some issues that are important to them. And in the process, they'll be getting a few things off their chests.
This program is somewhat of a TV equivalent to an editorial page. Opinions of typical St. Louisans will be featured. You will see no politicians, no celebrities during the next half hour.
You'll listen to the opinions at a backyard barbecue, at a barber shop, at a card game. You'll listen to a riverboat captain, a school teacher, and a construction worker.
You'll hear the opinions of a hospital administrator, a fisherman, and a homeless couple. You'll also listen to the social commentary of a group of St. Louis poets.
And another in our series of Vision of St. Louis specials, The People Speak Out. And tonight, we listen.
Born and raised here in St. Louis. I have a lovely family and a lovely mom and dad, and personally I think St. Louis is a nice place to live.
Yeah, I've lived here all my life. Like the weather, different seasons, it's a nice place to live.
One of the best, I think. I've been to Europe, and I've been pretty well all over the United States, and I always come back home.
We have lots of fireflies, and we have lots of parks, and we have lots of smiles, and we have nice streets, and we have Grand, and we have the Loop, and we have Forest Park where we can go to the Spanish Pavilion and see the fountain and just eat lunch and just hang and see the beauty. St. Louis is beautiful, because all life is beautiful.
St. Louis, I came to visit you today, saw the changes you have made. I've seen the history in shambles, castaway fineries, too old to attract today's client. I've tasted the flavors of your yesterdays, marveled in the history you're throwing away. I've seen your golden vestments replaced by golden arches, history replaced by hawk shops, and you throw away your yesterdays.
We know the infrastructure of the city is falling apart. That's real obvious. I mean, the streets are in terrible shape. That's one obvious example. That's one that touches everybody. The streets are in horrible shape. You know, that's one reason I bought the truck, was because I want something that could take the pounding of driving on St. Louis streets. But at the same time, they're spending millions of dollars building a stadium that we don't have a football team to play in yet. Now, is that logical?
I think that investment is going to pay for itself, and we're going to have a major league football team playing in that stadium.
That big bowl down there, you know how much money that was? They pay all the tax money for a big bowl for unnecessary project. They put the cart before the horse.
The area has its problems, obviously, but I think some of the positive things, far outweigh what the negative things are.
Like this light rail, that's been a great thing. You're going to move people faster and give them another option, and I think brings the spread out community closer together. I think the hard thing to overcome is the concept that everything east of Clayton has to be bad.
If this was the county, that'd be a park or something for the little kids so they won't be running in the street getting hit by cars or a condo, yeah.
We need to be working now on some of the longer term issues of transportation, fixing our airport congestion problem by virtue of the kind of expansion that's envisioned at Lambert. Bridges that take long times to plan and build, a new Mississippi River Bridge, a new Page Avenue Bridge.
I think a big problem with the area is the fact that the racial tension is there, but people just don't put it on the table so we can discuss it, so we can talk about it, so we can communicate to each other.
Last year when we had the flood, I think it really showed how people can pull together, and working together can come through any crisis.
I like the idea of getting out and just saying, hey, there's a problem here, somebody pay attention to what's going on. And it's not like we all don't know it's there, we just choose to push it aside.
I really dislike the media. The media, they grab a little strand of something and they latch on and they build on.
And we're all so afraid of the media, like the media can do something to me, like they could show up and tell me I gotta get out of my own apartment or kick my cat. The media!
When we have killings such as we had last night, I'm not interested in the bereaved parents. I think that that's a private matter, and for us to show a weeping mother or father on television, to me, is a crime. I'm sorry.
The media is here! The media is here!
Well, I think the secret to everything is education, and I really believe that you have to have parents who care. You see the most successful kids in school usually are the parents who are right behind the kids and trying to help them and things like that.
I think the whole educational system gets a bad rap nowadays, but it's by people that aren't in the schools to really see what's going on.
Well, for example, at open house, the kids whose parents you'd really like to see there, they never seem to show up, and the other people are always there because it involves their kids and they're interested in their kids and what their kids are doing.
Kids don't respect their parents anymore. We never talk back to our parents. Our parents told us to do something, we know to do it.
Our morals have to come up. The only way morals is going to come up is to go back to your Judeo-Christian principles, which teach right from wrong from birth to death.
I think that a person should put the firm hand on these kids, but the law won't let them. And I think that's the worst thing they could have ever done, is take that away from the parents. I had a friend the other day told me that her daughter said, told her mother, if you hit me, I'm gonna call 911 on you. Now what do you think about that?
This is about the violence that goes on in the streets of St. Louis. And at a time when I heard about some kids getting killed again on the TV, on the radio, wrote this poem. 3 more kids were killed last night. 3 spirits crushed. 3 doused out lights. 3 souls passed through the unknown gate on board the train of misplaced hate.
There's times that I can't park right in front of my building, and when that occurs, I have to park down the street, and it gets pretty dark and shadowy. And yeah, I do get scared. That's actually why I'm looking for another place to live. But I do get frightened.
I don't know, I'm not really that much in tune to the violence, although I know that it happens all around.
Imagine you could say that all of us are prisoners in our own house because very few people leave the doors open at night, so I suppose we all lock ourselves up to a degree.
I just think it's a matter of time before something's going to happen to me, personally, physically.
Well, I think our chief is doing a good job, but you look at it like this, he ain't got no cooperation with the people that live on the street, that live in this mess. See, nobody won't tell what's going on. Even if it's in their neighborhood, they're scared.
It runs on coals of burning souls that knew the truth but wouldn't speak. It blows a whistle that's a warning to every child we wouldn't teach.
I live upstate in New York in Poughkeepsie, but when I went to the city, it wasn't that bad. Manhattan, Bronx, it was all right. You know, when I walked outside there, I was not as scared as I have been since I've been back here. Because back here, every time I go around, it's a drive-by shooting, and I have a little boy, and I'm trying to live for him as well, and I don't want to get caught up in the line of fire.
And I felt safer in New York than I did here. But what is the first 10 minutes of our news here? So-and-so was killed, murdered, I mean, whatever.
If it
always,
bleeds, it leads.
Yeah, always. And in New York City, I didn't hear anything.
You know, I think the media focuses on the bad and doesn't pay much attention to those people who get up every morning and go to work and try to earn a living and raise a family and run a business and don't really do those things that, you know, sell stories or sell papers, you know.
Oh, generation, generation, there's a train that's traveling through, and if there's no hope for the baby, there's well no hope for you.
But what's bad about St. Louis is the blood and Crip thing. That's the only bad thing about St. Louis.
That's all you hear, Bloods and Crips killing each other.
It just bothers me every time I read about somebody being shot. It just bothers me so much, and I think that was so unnecessary. And you hear this preposterous argument that guns don't kill people, people kill people.
Guns don't kill people.
People kill people.
Wait a
Right.
second, guns kill people.
No, well, people, it's somebody behind a gun.
They had guns back in the time. They didn't have guns back then. They
See,
killing
now he
people with
getting crazy.
knives
He's
and
talking about-
swords.
Yeah.
But people kill people.
That's right.
That's automatic. People kill people. You
People
can lay a
use
gun
guns in
down.
the wrong
A gun
way.
ain't just gonna sit there and fire.
Sure,
Somebody
like
got to pull
put
that
it straight,
trigger.
right.
And that's a silly argument in my book because people would not kill the people if they didn't have the gun.
Absolutely, people kill people. You know, my guns lay in the closet week after week, but they haven't killed anybody.
I would absolutely stop the manufacture not only of guns, but also of bullets.
What's gun control going to prove? As an avid hunter, no, I don't want nobody taking my guns, and I'll fight tooth and toenail to keep them.
There are more gun dealers in this country than there are filling stations.
Hey, let's enforce the laws that we have on the books and take them away from the criminals and leave the law-abiding citizen alone.
There are certain things, diseases and so forth, that we may not be able to do anything about, automobile accidents and things, the airplane crashes and whatnot, but we could do something about the guns, about people being injured and killed by guns.
We need to teach respect in our homes. We need to teach respect in our schools. And then people like Chuck Norman can find something else to do.
You sit upon your seats of comfort, your house of I did nothing wrong, in your palace of confusion. You sing the children backward songs.
Back then when I come here, they didn't do no killing and going on. Well, if you got in a fight, it was with this. Now, You get in a fight now, he go home and kill you if he ain't already ready to kill you.
God's going to come back one of these days. And when he comes back, he's going to clean it up. I believe that.
We can't stay in our house because it's happening. So we just be out here. Yeah. If it happened, I guess it's meant to happen. Cause I ain't finna run from nobody.
I ain't running from nobody either.
A train of misplaced hatred, where ignorance is bliss. A train that only travels in a world that can't hear this.
I don't see a plan. I don't see the city developing a plan for the future, a cohesive plan, you know, that one administration to the next can follow.
It's not very well organized. Business and government and community don't always work together. It's fragmented in its approach to dealing with issues and solving problems.
Keeping stuff right left. Well, Civic Progress is mainly what? It's a group of local big shots, fat cats, who have gotten together at somebody's house one week and decided we're Civic Progress, and we're going to determine the direction that the city's going in, or we want it to go in, and they pretty much control that.
If the elected officials can't take the initiative to bring forth the project the city needs to make it thrive, somebody's got to take over.
And if they want something to happen in the city, it happens. And if they don't, they have the power and the money to block it.
You can't expect a man who lives in a nice mansion or a nice home, drives a nice car, to understand what goes on down, as they say, in the hood.
Keeping stuff right left.
I think Civic Progress is an extraordinary resource that this community benefits from in many, many ways. I mean, the most recent example of we would not have a Kiel Center but for the commitment of those companies through Civic Progress.
We're coming up on Malampy Street. I think our biggest problem is getting things done without the long delays. It takes so long to get anything done.
Pity! Doggone pity! My girl! Living in the city!
Our civil leaders, I think a lot of them just in office to get paid. And they're not really, truly all that concerned. Go have a seat. Okay, go have a seat. I'll be with you in a minute. No, have a seat. And you know, I think that for the most part, if that's the way I think the issue needs to be changed. You know, guys need to do what you guys are doing, coming down and really getting the heart of the situation and hearing from the people.
Sound off! Sound off!
It seems to me that the only people that are able to make a difference are those with the economic
Money.
ability to do it. And frankly, our generation doesn't have any money. Our generation is broke. We're starting off broke. You know, I mean, we're having to amass huge amounts of debt just to get through school, to take on jobs that start out paying $6.50 an hour. Now, you cannot make a living on $6.50 an hour.
I don't want to work at McDonald's. Me either. Unless I'm McDonald Douglas. Yeah. Where the money at? That's where the money at.
I got grandkids coming up, you know, like I told you, and everything, and I like to see better for them. Which they've got it better than I ever had it, you know. I worked at Daybright Lighting Company for 27 years, and when I quit, I was making $3.50 an hour. I had to go into business for myself to make what I have today, and I ain't got much, but what I had today, I made it on my own.
And there's that conflict between you're supposed to be an individual in the American dream, and actually growing up and realizing it doesn't matter. You're not an individual, you're just part of the machine.
Company! Ho! 1, 2!
Central West End is ghost town. I saw a ghost today, walking dead. I'd seen him before in his same old Salvation Army clothes, walking up and down Lindell. Where's he going? What's he doing? Man, he's living to a death that won't come soon enough.
All the potential employers out there, what would you tell them?
I don't know. Dad, I know what we would tell them. To help the homeless people out. Give them a fair chance.
Telling them just because the people are homeless doesn't mean that they don't want to work, that they don't want a job. A lot of them are that way. There's some of them that wouldn't work if the job was offered to them. There's some of them that do want to work. Just because their address is a shelter, don't take that. There's the fact that they're not trying. They're doing the best they can.
They're busy trying to collect cans. That's about all we can do. No, 43 cents a pound for cans.
Working men work hard. Get a job, they scoff. Support your own habits. He has a bad habit. Homelessness.
If you go in and fill out an application and you've got a shelter address, the way I figured it, as soon as you leave, it went in the trash can. In other words, this guy's living in a shelter. He's not worth hiring.
What's your next step?
Trying to get into a place of our own. To where we won't get jumped again. I got jumped about a week ago.
Down here?
Got my jaw broke. Fractured. Can you tell it?
Did you go to the hospital?
They wanted me to. I told them it would be okay. But I couldn't eat nothing. Ooh. I just kept drinking cold stuff till the swelling went down.
Suits climbing stallions of U.S. Steel and ride west into Ladue sunsets. Suits aren't fools, they play by the rules written by their white fathers.
If you had one wish, what would it be?
They have a house with air conditioning. It'd make us both happy.
Black man, homeless man, ought to learn to play by the rules. Maybe someone ought to teach him how to play. I saw a ghost today. If I come here tomorrow, I'll probably see him again. Maybe I'll give him change for the bus.
You see, after the angst and the doodah and the drama, I want to make a difference in this world. I mean, along with Gandhi and the Dalai Lama, I want to make a difference in this world. And so I must believe that everything I do counts, that every action mounts moment by moment, building the mountain of my dreams. So let us suppose for a moment that the future, like a baby, like a flower, lies in our arms, in our hands, in our power to make of it what we will. How shall we nurture the baby? How shall we water the flower? Oh, we are the myth makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams. And with our minds and imaginations, we continually create reality.